Tanner throws off his blanket and struggles to restrain his right hand. He's been on No Fap for the past 133 days, 19 hours, and 6 minutes, and his body has begun to rebel against his efforts. He's had to resort to sleeping in a straitjacket just to keep his right hand from ending his godly streak. But these past few days have been especially difficult. He can't think straight and he's begun calling women hoes who'd even dare to show their ankles in his presence. He's been on edge all month, and the slightest provocation sets him over the limit. Instead of channeling his sexual energy into productive purposes, it's been twisted and distorted into misogyny. He gets home from work exhausted from the mental restraint he has to impose upon himself all day just to keep himself pure and his streak flawless. And even in his sleep, he can't rest because his own body has turned against him. When I was growing up, my family was never super religious, but we did have aspects of religion pervading our mindset. For example, when it came to sex, I was basically taught that it was this dirty thing that only degenerates engage in, and that, you know, if you have sex before marriage, you're going to hell.
Jesus Christ.
And so even though I had these, natural sexual urges like all other people on earth, I was basically taught to repress my own sexual nature. And so before No Fap was even a big thing, I would literally go months on end without fapping, not because I want to become some sort of god of No Fap, some sort of god of, sexual transmutation, transmuting all of that, sexual aggression into my fucking algebra homework. It's because I literally had no desire to fap at all. I had so thoroughly repressed my own sexual nature that, fapping honestly seemed like a chore to me, and so I just chose not to do it. And so this is discipline gone wrong. I had gotten so accustomed to repressing my own sexual energy that I had basically psychologically castrated myself. I literally almost made myself asexual. But one day I met this girl who seemed so alive, so vivacious, so filled with vitality that I began to ask myself, what does she know that I don't? Because when I compared myself to her, I honestly felt dead inside. I wanted to become more like her and to restore my vitality, but more than anything, I wanted to feel like a living human being again, instead of feeling like I was a little bitch. Like I was a member of The Walking Dead or something. At this point, I had already been in my self-improvement journey for a while now. I had already been eating healthy foods, I had already been exercising, but for whatever reason, these healthy habits didn't seem to be really addressing the root of the issue. I couldn't quite figure out what was wrong with me and why I felt dead inside, but I knew that I couldn't continue down this same old path, and so that's when I started talking to Goggins. Goggins has been putting off his happiness for as long as he could remember. I'll be happy when I get a six-pack, earn 7 figures, and driving a sports car, and dating a 10 out of 10, he would tell himself. But with each new accomplishment, he kept moving the goalpost. He used to tell himself, I'll be happy when I this or that, for so long that he couldn't even remember when the last time was that he was actually happy. And even though such a mindset pushed him to the pinnacle of material success, he still felt empty inside. It wasn't until he traveled far away outside of his kingdom and met a group of hunter-gatherers that he realized that he needed to make a drastic change. He saw that all these people had were a few huts and the bare minimum for survival. But everyone was feasting on meat, dancing, and having the time of their lives. Even though he came dressed in his royal outfit fitted with gold and diamonds, he saw that the hunter-gatherers possessed something that money couldn't buy: true happiness. So this got me thinking, how has my own mindset been keeping me from feeling lively and vivacious? I had already been exercising and eating healthy, and so the physical portion of the equation had already been taken care of. So what type of mindset would cause someone to feel dead inside? And so this was when I came to the realization that all life springs forth from desire. And so when you attempt to cut yourself off from desire, including, your sexual urges, you are cutting yourself off from the life-giving source which produced you. In case you didn't catch that, I'm going to say that one more time. All life springs forth from desire. And so if you try and cut yourself off from desire, you're cutting yourself off from the life-giving source which produced you. And so what that basically means is that vitality and sexual energy are one and the same thing. And so that meant that if I sincerely wanted to start living my best life, I just needed to start busting some nuts. But in all seriousness, I just needed to stop repressing my sexual energy and, accept the fact that I'm just a hyper intelligent ape-like animal, like every other human being on earth. And so once I finally stepped down from my high horse and accepted the fact that I'm just an animal and having sexual urges is absolutely nothing to be ashamed of, I was finally able to stop repressing my sexual energy, and as a result my degree of vitality and happiness has skyrocketed. And so I used to walk around at like a 5 out of 10 happiness level, but nowadays it's more like a 7 or even 8 out of 10. And so this is why I have a problem with No Fap, because if it's taken to the extreme like I did it, you can basically get to the point where you so heavily repress your own sexual energy that you can essentially psychologically castrate yourself. But by the same token, if you're spending all of your time watching porn and fapping, then practicing some abstinence might actually be beneficial to you. But as with anything in life, balance is key. For me personally, I find that fapping is actually a productivity hack, because it allows me to release some pent-up energy and then hyper focus on what I need to get done, instead of trying to keep from breaking my no fap streak and then compulsively opening up Tinder, swiping right on all the girls, trying to get a match.
Humongous hairy split. Okay, this could be it. Yes!
Alright guys, so I hope you liked the video, and if not, feel free to leave some comments on how I can make it better. If this is a topic you want to learn more about, feel free to check out my free mastermind guide, which is going to teach you how to not be a little bitch, how to increase your level of vitality, and how to not feel dead inside, how to actually feel like a living, breathing human being. The link's going to be in the description, so check that out. It's packed with a whole bunch of good information that's really going to help you guys out. I'll see you guys on the next video, and as always, keep dreaming while you're awake. Peace.
You ever wonder what it feels like when dreams bleed into real life? Seen scenes from TV get realized. Palm trees, a soft breeze, and chilled ice till tides wash away our problems in the spilled wine.